All right, my beautiful friends, we do have to talk yet again because they are trying to play a charade on you, and it's a setup. And we're going to expose it right here and right freaking now. So it is Tuesday, October 8th, 2019. Before we even talk about the market, let's discuss how the propaganda is yet again hitting a new high. So we found out this morning that miraculously wholesale prices dropped. Why are they trying to convince you that wholesale prices are dropping? Because dollar devaluation is coming. I discussed this just yesterday. Sometimes it blows my mind. I had no advanced knowledge of the number that was going to come out today. I promise you that. But we know for a fact that prices are not dropping anywhere. Again, just recently in the real world, I went shopping, I get the bill, and I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. Prices are rising rapidly, but you can't know that. It goes back to what I've been saying for the longest time. They are desperate to convince you that what you're seeing is not real. So they have to push the agenda, push the narrative that there is no inflation. So when they hit the dollar, which is coming, people, I explained this to you yesterday. Look, I talk to everybody, and I mean everybody. I have friends at the major Wall Street banks. The chatter everywhere is dollar intervention. It's a lock. It is coming. So it's a setup. They have to convince you first that what you're seeing is not real. Then they hit the dollar and they're going to tell you that there's no inflation. Nothing in this environment is real. Now let's talk more about that. As I am doing this video blog, and anything can happen in this bizarre market, stocks are down across the board. Do you know why? Well, let's back up to yesterday. Yesterday, for the quadzillionth time, our president said on live TV that he expects a China deal soon. It's comical and it's laughable. We've been hearing this for 2 years, Mr. President. Shit or get off the pot. I mean, that's really the truth here. But he has to keep the fake narrative. He has to convince you yet again that what you're seeing is not real. Stocks are down right now because the market does not believe him. All right, it doesn't believe him. And again, China just took some key components off the table that they will not even discuss, that President Trump said were important. No, I want the president to get a deal with China for us. It's not about him. It's about us. And he is hell-bent on propping this stock market up, so he has to keep that narrative up too. A deal is coming. It's only been 2 years, but it's coming soon. Hold your breath. Let's see what happens. But that's seriously the distortions that they have to shove down your throat. Let's talk about a couple of other things here. Cryptocurrencies are about flat. Gold and silver both catching a nice bid. The dollar is slightly in the negative. Now let's talk about the bond market. I've explained to you several videos ago that we have a problem. I have a problem. That's the truth. With regard to trying to get a handle on the debt market right now, we are in full-blown QE6. The Federal Reserve is rigging the federal funds rate. They're involved in extending and expanding their repo scam, all right, to keep the short end of the curve suppressed. The market is not being allowed to determine fair value. It's one and only job. The Federal Reserve is buying medium-term debt and long-term debt. You know, it's radio silent. Very few people, and I did see a few others on YouTube, to their credit, who are also discussing QE6 right now. And it's not just them. If you go even to some of the kind of mainstream, but just off mainstream TV channels, there are even some people over there explaining that this is quantitative easing. But again, it's mostly, in fact, from the mainstream channels, it's radio silent. President, radio silent. Can't talk about it. You're not supposed to know that these things are going on right under your nose. Most people missed QE4 and QE5. Most people missed them. You didn't if you followed this blog. But most people had no idea that QE4, QE5 went on, and now we are into QE6. Just the beginning of QE6. But going back to the debt market here, being that the Fed is in this nuclear phase, it is extremely difficult to gauge, for me, maybe for you, any real action here in the debt market, which makes it a little harder to get a handle on where stocks are going to go. We also know this, people. Look, the Federal Reserve's trading desk, they're buying stocks. Steve Mnuchin's Wall Street Bank, 6 of them are buying the stock market. Nothing is real here. You must be convinced that things are what they are. You have to be blinded. You can't know the truth about anything right now. And the biggest thing to me right now, and this is what's being covered on the mainstream, is there's no inflation. As a matter of fact, inflation is coming down. This is giving them an excuse to hit the dollar. The data is fake. 100% propaganda to mislead you, again, to convince you that what you are seeing is not real. This is, again, a communist market. There's no difference right now between China's communist managed market and economy than what we have here. And the propaganda and the lies must get larger. Understand? I think you get it. But there are still those that are going to buy it. It's an incredible situation that we are in. They are dumbed down, unable to see what's going on because they've been polarized, they've been blinded, deliberately blinded. They cannot see the light. I'm serious. If these people were to stare into the sun on a bright summer day, but let's say Donald Trump said, no, it's cloudy, they would believe that. That's the way it is in this administration. We have a Federal Reserve and a president who is a puppet of the Federal Reserve, who is going to, you watch, if he hasn't done it already, talking about no inflation, talking about more dollar intervention that he has said repeatedly, just about as many times, maybe, well, maybe not as many, but maybe half as many times he has talked about the dollar is too strong as he's pushed the fake, laughable, comical propaganda that we're going to get a deal with China soon. It's only been 2 years. It's insane. But this is where we are at. All right, people, look, I got to get back to work. I was in one trade this morning, made a few dollars. That's it. I love all of you. Please share the video. Get it out there. I'm counting on you. Again, if you're part of my team, and I'm out of here.